give an overview now of the HiWatch Turbo Hybrid 2 megapixel CCTV kits. They're hybrid kits and they come with built-in hard drives. So I'm going to give a single overview video for both the 4-channel version here that comes with a total of 4 cameras, and the 8-channel version that comes with a total of 6 cameras, so we're calling it a 6 camera kit. Okay, so I'm just going to move this one out of the way for the convenience, but everything else internally is the same in terms of the cameras, the cables, the power units, etc. So this is going to give you a pretty comprehensive overview. So I want to show you what you get, the main features on the DVR, plug it up, kick it off, and just show you what it's going to look like when you turn it on. Okay, so the key thing to remember here, right across the HiWatch range, whether it's DVRs, kits, all the rest of it, there's a huge level of consistency in terms of the design, the interface, all the rest of it, and it just means that we're able to do a very elaborate series of videos that cover a huge range of products. So we're going to go into huge detail on lots of things we won't cover in detail in this particular overview video. So this is the outer box, which comes in here. So in total there we've got 6 cameras, which you can see here, and with that we have 6 cables. Okay, so I'll put the cables briefly first. The purpose of the cable is to run power from a centralized power unit to the camera, and the Bnc connection to run the picture from the camera directly back to the DVR itself. The camera itself, if you come along, it is a fixed lens camera. It's 2 megapixel, and it has 20 meter IR on it. And in total there's 3 cables sticking out here. One's the Bnc connection, like I mentioned earlier, which would connect in and run the picture back, with the power input one here. And we also have a little toggle one here. We're going to screw the top of this and look inside and see a little switch, and it allows the switch between the 4 different technologies that this hybrid camera supports: TVI, AHD, CVI. And the great thing about it is you don't need to know anything about that, simply because no matter what technology you have it set to, it'll be set by default to TVI, is that what will happen is that it'll pick up the signal in the DVR, it knows what it is, and it just displays the signal. Okay, so the intelligence is built into the DVR itself, so you'd never need to use that unless you were ended up using this camera on a different DVR. But anyway, this is just how to put the kit together. What comes in the little camera box along with the camera, you have a user manual, you have this little template here for marking out how we're going to mark and position it either on a wall or a ceiling, and then we have the 3 screws and 3 plugs. So that's basically it. So it's replicated 6 times, and in the case of the 4-channel one, we replicated 4 times. So what comes along with it then as well? Well, we have a CD here, a little user manual for the DVR itself. We have a power unit here. The purpose of it is, normally we'd have a power output that would connect directly from our power unit into the back of the DVR. In this case, what we're doing is we're actually splitting it off, and we have this particular output here. Locally will feed the DVR, but because it's 12 volt 5 amp, it's actually enough there to power the 6 cameras that are on the system, and the outputs here is for 8 cameras, so they can all be powered off a single centralized power unit, and over the distance 20 meters or so, that'll actually work quite well. Okay, so then we have a mouse, and then we have the actual 12 volt 5 amp power unit itself. If we look at the front of the DVR, very little in it. The first thing you'll know is picking up the DVR, it's quite heavy, and the reason is that the 6 camera kit comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive built in. The 4 camera one will come with a 1 terabyte drive built in, and we have indications there whether it's getting power, whether it's detecting its hard drive, etc. Okay, so you can just look and see, is it on, does it have a hard drive, is it seeing its hard drive. If we rotate and turn it around to the back of the unit here, what we'll have is 8 Bnc connections here. So this is taking up to 8 cameras, but we obviously have 6 cameras in this kit, or 4 in the other one, and then we'd have a VGA or a HDMI feed directly to, in this case it's a TV, but if it was a monitor we could read directly with a VGA connection here. And then what we have is a LAN connection with a power unit with 2 USB ports, and there's a reason there's a little dongle here is simply because I'm going to use a wireless mouse when I'm doing the next part of the demonstration here. So that's basically it. So what I'm going to do at this point is 2 additional things. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to power up the DVR and connect it to the TV, and the next thing is I'm going to connect the camera and we'll just see the picture resolution, etc. Okay, so here we have a HDMI lead, so I'm just slotting it into the HDMI slot I showed a few moments ago. We have a power unit similar to the one there, and we're just going to push that directly in here, and we'll just see the little red light is lit up there, and Finally, what we have here is we have a Bnc connection here. The first end of the Bnc connection, I'm simply going to come along. We're going to connect it into our DVR, like this. And the second part here, I'm going to come along. I'm going to connect it over to our camera. And remember, our camera needs 2 settings on it. First thing it needs in relation to this is the actual Bnc connection. And the next we're going to need is an actual power unit here itself directly over. So we have a camera just to be turned on. I'm just going to trace back this power unit here. And we'll just make sure it's put in correctly. Okay, so it wasn't pushed in there correctly, that's just all it was. The initial beep to say it's got some life. And now what it's waiting to do is, we'll just give it a few minutes dead time here. Come along. I'm just going to grab the mouse and get ready to go here onto the next screen. So the interface across all the HiWatch DVRs, whether it's a 2 megapixel, 3 megapixels, all the rest of it, it's identical. The design of the DVRs actually can vary a little bit in terms of physical shape, but in terms of the interface, which is the key thing for people, it's there. And we can see here we have camera set up, and maybe we'll just come down and along here. Actually, what I have to do here is I'm just going to get the mouse going here. We're going to exit. And do I want to exit? Yes. And what we have here is I just aim down along the room, turn it the right way around, and we can just see the type of image we can pick up there. We're just picking up the end of the kit and right down the end of the room then with the 2 megapixel camera here. So I'll just aim this back up, hopefully reasonably discreetly here. And what I'll do here is I can go in and I can just go into the menu mode and draw unlock pattern first, okay? And what we'll be prompted here to do is set up, we'll say, a password and a symbol here in terms of how to contact this in terms of administration, something like that, okay? So that symbol there will get us directly in that we've set up ourselves. But if you were using this one for the first time, you'll be prompted that and just create that symbol yourself and a password as well. So we've just done this to bring you in. We're into playback, we're into export, we're into manual then. So playback, we had a hard drive built in and we had recording, we go and we can play back past recordings. But as we have no recordings, that's just not an option for us. So we'll just go back to, I'll just go back over here and we'll just exit out of that. Export, if we had a recording that we want to save to a USB stick, we could do it that way. We have a manual setup with hard drives here. We can go down and we can have a look at the size of the hard drive. So it's 2 terabytes, so it's coming up at just under 2 terabytes, 1800 and something things, because it's obviously operating systems and things like that is sitting there as well. So what we have there is record, the ability to set a recording, so we can pick out which channel we want to record on. So we have 8 cameras here in total on this one here, and what hours a day, over which days we want to do it, and whether we wanted it to be continuous event, motion, alarm, etc. like that. So there's great flexibility. Normally what you'll do is set up one camera and then you repeat the exact settings across all the other cameras. In most setups is what you're trying to do. So there's configuration, maintenance and shutdown. So like all of these things we will cover in more detail, and the reason we're going to do it that way is you don't want to see all this detail now if you're making a decision on what to purchase, but because it's the same right across all the different ones, we're able to replicate the video again and again. If we came along and we're just looking at how we're going to do the display here, if we went into multi-screen and pulled it down, and we went, let's say 3x3, we can see here, we can just pull it up and then we can click on one camera here and just bring it center and fold here. So then we have the option for next previous screen start, thing like this, start recording, playback, PTZ, things like that. What I'll generally say in relation to this is that the PTZ thing, the way it's set up in this, it generally wouldn't work anyway. But you know, you have a set kit here, so it's just not really. If I was going to do a PTZ system, I wouldn't do it with a HiWatch because that's more industrial and there's higher end DVRs, far more expensive and things like that. But so I wouldn't overly worry about that feature there. We have it covered. We have a big range of PTZs, but just I wouldn't try to integrate it as an extra port on one of these kits, simply because it's not really applicable to it. So overall, we'll say it's a very, very complete kit. When people are wondering what app will you use and how to set it up, well, yeah, obviously if you want to view this remotely, you'll need to connect this off a router so you can set it up on the web. But the actual setup from that point onwards is very, very easy. You just go to your phone, you download the Hit Connect app, And what you're able to do from that point then is a very, very quick process if you're using the peer process on it to get it up and running. And Hikvision put in huge work with the HiWatch range to keep that whole process very, very simple. So really, I wouldn't say it's the first kit, but it's one of the first kits that's really crossed the barrier where it's taken what is a professional product and made it that it's applicable not just to professionals but to DIYers as well, because everything is here, it works extremely well, the interface is beautiful, and with the support of our videos here that'll be comprehensively cover all the key things inside it. I think it'll address the real things to allow people to grab this, set it up, and in a relatively short period of time will have like an hour or two, will have their DVRs set up, cameras, and have themselves online for remote viewing. So that's it anyway, an overview of the HiWatch 4 and 6 camera turbo hybrid CCTV kits. They're 2 megapixel and they're available with free delivery directly from freetv.ie.